Hi all, you are watching a fragment of the Countdown program for May 29, 2023. Today is Monday. For the Bald Games bonus story, see Daily Motion. The full version is on Patreon. There are a lot of interesting things I recommend. And I'm moving on to the main topic. Sometimes propaganda shoots. And, to your feet, the Kremlin ran into its own hysteria. It all started with a story about a conversation between U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, who visited Kyiv, and President Zelensky. In the video, originally distributed by the Office of the President of Ukraine, the senator's two remarks followed each other. And the Russians are dying and we have never spent money so well. However, it soon became clear that these phrases were wired one to the other. In a genuine conversation, there was no connection between them. In the original, without editing, Graham began by saying that the resistance of the Ukrainians reminds him of the heroic pages of American history. There was a time when we were like that, fought to the last man, we wanted to either be free or die. To this, Zelensky replied, "And now you are free, and so will we." Graham reacted, "And the Russians are dying," to which Zelensky agreed, but countered, "Yes, but they came to our territory. We do not fight on their territory." End of quote. Graham's phrase about how well the US spends money, what Russian propaganda has turned into an investment in the death of Russians, was uttered separately, and even elsewhere. Nevertheless, this provocatively edited story provoked a nuclear reaction from the Kremlin propagandists and Russian bosses. To intensify the reaction, even Medvedev was woken up, who immediately remembered offhand several names of forcibly murdered American senators. Bostrykin opened a case of incitement to murder, against Graham, of course, and not against Medvedev, and the Ministry of Internal Affairs put Lindsey Graham on the wanted list. Moreover, for a propaganda outlet, it would be enough not to stick together these phrases so clumsily, but to use the words about investing money. They say, Graham, as a representative of the American military, is satisfied. But the temptation was so great that they could not resist being tied to the cave Russophobia, and went into all serious trouble. However, the Kremlin has always lied, and is not going to repent. The culprit of the media storm, who previously called Medvedev an old fool, reacted philosophically to this hysteria. As usual, the Russian propaganda machine is running out of steam. Mr. Medvedev, if you want Russians to stop dying in Ukraine, withdraw your troops, stop the invasion, stop war crimes. But the truth is that Russian soldiers are indifferent to both you and Putin. End of quote. But there is one more nuance that does not lie on the surface, and is revealed only to those who are used to digging deeper into the fleet of shovels. And it is he who turns the situation in a completely different direction. Watch the full story on Patreon. Become our patrons now and look further in this program. According to the results of voting in the second round of the presidential elections in Turkey, the current president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, won. He received over 52% of the popular vote and remains in office for the next 5 years. The Belgorod governor Gladkov, exhausted by raids of saboteurs and all sorts of arrivals, turned on the creative and offered to annex the Kharkiv region of Ukraine. During the night alone, the Air Defense Forces of Ukraine destroyed 67 air targets. In the morning the shelling continued. According to Air Force Speaker Yuri Ignat, the occupiers could have attacked Kyiv with an Iskander. Several district courts in Moscow were urgently evacuated today. In particular, the Kamenychesky District Court, Izmailovsky, Kuzminsky, Chertanovsky and the famous Basmany were evacuated. The horizon of cave spectacles narrowed. No football, no hockey. But, judging by the frontline reports and preparations for defeat in the war, the Putlo Zone is actively preparing for the Bald Survival Games. For the Bald Games bonus story, see Daily Motion. And that is all. See the full version on Patreon. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. Hugs to everyone. See you on Thursday. Glory to Ukraine.